Hey guys, today we're doing Vodou lamps. Vodou lamps are the foundation of spiritual work. Oftentimes, when people are making petitions to the Loa or ancestors or doing things for their habitation, they're going to do it in the form of a lamp. So, obviously, it's important to be able to do it properly. And since so many people are kind of on the struggle bus, I was like, let me help you guys figure out how to do this properly. So first you're gonna need cotton. I want genuine cotton, please everybody. Enough with the CVS and Walgreens store cotton. I can tell you how annoying it is sometimes to watch you guys do this with like this fake cotton. Get some genuine cotton, please, raw cotton, okay? If I find it disrespectful, I cannot imagine what the law is saying. Like, look at like these ancestors doing all this stuff trying to come through for us, and then you get some cheap CVS cotton that's not even really cotton. Plus, when you're making lamps, even like you notice the difference when you're using real cotton versus fake cotton. Luckily, I do sell cotton on my website, actual raw cotton from a farm, unprocessed, just picked. And so, if you want to get some, you can go to ymtribe.com. Otherwise, if you know how to get cotton for yourself, if you got a cotton farm, a cotton field in your neighborhood, and you want to go out there and you want to pop some cotton and get some, that's between you and God. Love that for you. But in the meantime, let's get into this little tutorial here I got for y'all. Okay, first, you're gonna grab your cotton, okay? I know I have a lot in my hands, but you don't even need this much. That's why I'm gonna kind of look through it, see if I can get a piece that doesn't have too many little branches and seeds in it. And then I'm gonna pick apart the part of the cotton that I do need. And as you can see, much smaller than that big old piece. So it little goes a long way. Then I'm gonna start to take the cotton and kind of pull it apart. I'm pulling it apart so that it'll become wispier. It'll also take up more space. I'm also taking out all the little, impurities and stuff that I might see in there. This cotton is pretty good, so I didn't need to do much, but I do want it to be wispier because it's not gonna collect too much oil and end up making me use more cotton than I need. Now, you never wanna waste your resources. As I'm pulling apart, I noticed that honestly I didn't even need that much. So I'm gonna kind of take off just a little bit on the edge and then pull it apart so that it's kind of flat and wispy, like a cirrus cloud. Then I'm gonna go ahead and take the edges of my little mesh cloud, and I'm gonna start to fold it into each other so that they kind of do make the shape of a triangle. Or I like to think of it as like the Hershey's kiss. So taking the edges and folding them into each other, holding it at the tip where it's all folded, and then twisting it so that we can flatten the base. I usually just use my hands, kind of twist it around so that I can try and get this Hershey's Kiss shape. Watch the wind. I probably shouldn't have done this outside, but it's too late now. And then I have the base, which is going to lay flat in my bowl, in my lamp, or in my plate, whatever I'm using. And then the top, which is essentially my wick. This is going to be adjusted a little bit more, but as we go through the video, you'll be able to see what is absolutely necessary. Then I take my oil. I like to pour the oil into the plate around the mesh, or I put the oil down first. Go Miami Dolphins. Then once my oil is in the container, I'm going to take my mesh and I'm going to put it into the oil, taking the oil and using my fingers to dip it into the base. I like to give the oil time to kind of get sucked into the base so that it doesn't overwhelm the cotton mesh, but also so I have control over how it's flowing. You see what I'm doing here? Now, I didn't immediately put it on the tip, essentially the wick of our little lamp here, because I like to do that with my fingers, again, for the sake of control. And as you can see, the wick kind of becomes longer. And so I'm gonna fold it over a bit and then squeeze it out. Even though the rest of the wick and the rest of the mesh is going to be wet, I am going to eventually take the very tip and I'm going to make sure that's a little bit, like it's not as damp. I don't want it to be absolutely soaking at the tip, but the rest can be soaking because we don't want the fire to overwhelm the cotton. Remember, this cotton is organic material and it burns easily. So I'm starting to squeeze out the very tippy tip so that it is wet, but not soaked. So it's damp basically. And when we have the damp tip, then you're gonna see that it's gonna be easier to maintain the flame in without it overwhelming the rest of the mesh. Now I'm going to take another one so that you guys can get another example of this. Most of the time when we're doing this kind of offering, you'll see that people make 3 meshes. I'm not going to make 3 today. I'm just trying to give you guys an example, like show you guys how they could look when you're working on this. So this second mesh, I'm going to pull apart just like the way that I did the first. Get it going so that it's kind of flat, give me that cirrus cloud shape we were talking about, and fold it into itself. We really want to make sure we're folding it into that Hershey's Kiss shape. I love that because it's like the perfect shape. It's exactly what you want. And it really looked the way it needed to be looking. All right. So I'm going to flatten the base so that we get a foundation that's going to remain sturdy inside of the oil. Then I'm going to put it down next to the original one. This one I did struggle with a little bit, but that's okay because we shall overcome. And then we put it into the oil just like we did the first. Every single mesh is not going to be perfect, and every mesh is not going to look exactly the same. But if you make sure you have a strong foundation to hold the mesh up, the tip that's going to remain steady while soaking up oil from the base, while also kind of maintaining a flame at the tip, making sure that most of the mesh is going to be damp, but the very tippy top is not, then you should be good to go. I'm gonna use my torch, which is my favorite instrument to kind of set these things on fire, to light them up. If you're me, you're gonna do this for many, many years and still forget that you shouldn't do this outside. But if you're not me and you're listening to me anyways, then you're gonna do this indoors. Don't worry, if you do it indoors, it's not so much of a problem. It's just like lighting any candle, but the wind won't be blowing so much. The one that isn't lit, if you notice, it's also a little bit off to the side. Pay attention to the way that the meshes that you're lighting are maintaining, because that can give you insight into how effective they are. The first mesh, obviously I took my time, that one's looking good. And as I pour more oil to elevate the level of the oil in the plate, you see it's maintaining its integrity. That's beautiful. That means that was done correctly. That means that very little human error here. And notice the kind of problems your mesh is having so you can adjust it. When I realized that part of the problem is that the foundation of the second mesh wasn't so good, I just extinguished it and then used my fingers to twist the tip a little bit more, and then prepare it to be lit. I'm squeezing as I'm twisting so that it's not so overwhelmed with oil, and so that I have a longer wick to work with, and then I set it on fire again. And if you notice, the second time I did it, things look a lot better because I started making that adjustment, and you're gonna do the same thing. Sometimes, depending on the cotton, the little black soot and smoke kind of getting off, blowing off into the wind are going to be present. You don't want this to be happening too much, because this might mean that it's burning through the fiber too quickly. You want the mesh to be damp enough that there's not a crap ton of smoke just kind of gutting off. That means that your mesh may not last as long as you want it to. So just keep that in mind. And then as things are kind of burning, also pay attention to how quickly the rest of it gets dark. Sometimes the smoke isn't coming off in a very big way, but you notice that things are getting dark quickly. Last thing I want you to remember is how to extinguish your mesh. And grabbing the cotton by the mesh by the tip on the foundation, somewhere on the outside, and just kind of flipping it over, or putting a little bit of oil on top of the flame to extinguish it with the oil inside of your container. All right, let me know how it goes for you guys. Drop any comments, questions, concerns, or interested parties and outbursts within the comment section. I'll do my best to respond, see if maybe I can help you guys out. If you need one-on-one help, I am definitely here to support you. Just head over to my website. I have links down below. And most importantly, tell me, which Elias are you feeling like today? Now that you've watched the video, before you're about to get started, drop in the comments below which Elias you're kind of feeling like right now in regards to making your first lamp, or kind of adjusting the strategies that you use to maintain your lamps. Bye guys.